Weens, episode 120. Rudderless and Dear Evan Hansen are on the docket for today.
Dear Evan Hansen and Rudderless.
And Rudderless. As always, I am London, and that is Thomas. We're your hosts. We talk about movies efficiently.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
Yeah, seriously, what the fuck are you going to do about it?
Huh!
But, yeah. Any interesting watches this week for you?
Yeah. I got a couple. New Ghostbusters.
Yeah, I saw that you gave it like a 4 or something like that.
Gave it a 3.
A 3.
Thought it was really bad.
I can't remember. Have you seen the old ones?
Yeah, I think I remember liking the first one. I don't think either of the first two are like super amazing, but they're like fun little romps.
Mm-hmm.
At least the last time I watched them.
Yeah.
And I liked the 2016 one fine. Mm. This one I just was like, wow, that was rough. Hinata liked the new one though.
Yeah, I didn't like the 2016 one.
Yeah, we know.
I'm probably not going to give this one a chance because it's just like
Paul Rudd's really hot in this movie though.
Yeah, he's really hot in everything though. So I'll just watch a different Paul Rudd movie.
Yeah, like Halloween 6.
Like Halloween 6. But I don't know. It just seems even further from the mark than the last one did. And it's like, Is it that hard to make it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to like look at what fans like from the original Ghostbusters and kind of, I don't know, make another one. But I guess it is.
Yeah. Because you're not going to watch it. I'm going to tell you a spoiler after the podcast.
I know... I've watched a couple reviews on it, so I know about the thing.
Yeah, that's real good taste there.
Yeah, totally not tasteless.
Yeah. What else did I watch? I watched Tick, Tick, Boom, which is the new musical.
Andrew Garfield,
directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. This is his first directing work. And then it's based on a play or a musical by Jonathan Larson, who's the guy who did Rent. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun.
Okay.
It's like really, really cheesy at times. But like that's fine. Yeah. That's what it was going for. I think it handled it well, and I thought it was really good. And the music in it's really good. I hadn't heard anything from Tick, Tick, Boom before. Mm-hmm. But I really liked it. Hinata loved it as well. Joe really liked it too. Pierre, not a fan.
No.
Not everything can be LaQuisha, though.
Oh, fair enough.
And then I watched something else. Oh, yeah. I watched King Richard, which is that new Will Smith movie.
The
tennis one.
Yeah.
And, like, for a sports biopic, I thought it was pretty good. Like...
I don't know. Based off the trailer alone, I find it kind of problematic that they decided to make a movie about the dad. Having seen the movie... Does that, like...
Well, it's weird, because, like, both the Williams daughters are, like, producers on the movie, and it feels like they wanted it to be made.
I see.
So, with that in mind, I'm like, okay, I'm more okay with that. Because before, I'm like, this seems not great.
Yeah.
But, and... like, near the last half, it's pretty much just like a Venus Williams biopic.
Okay.
I really liked it, though. I thought it was good. Will Smith's, like, I think is really good at times. Like, he can be really, really good in performances, but it's just like, he just makes too much money that most of the roles he takes are just like, I'm going to be in Deadshot and Suicide Squad because they're giving me like $100 million or something.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn it, I want you to... Because he has so much, like, charisma that's just, like, naturally comes to him, and he can, like, play a lot of really cool stuff. And he's at the perfect age to play, like, these roles, like, these, like, weird, sad dad roles, which are, like, my favorite thing in the world. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, come on, do this more. I like this. I like where this is going. So let's see if this happens more in the future.
I don't know. I think he tries to keep his image way too safe most of the time. So I don't know if we'll ever see something like that from him.
Yeah. Well, that's what King Richard, like, is a pretty big departure on, like, what he usually plays. apparently he wanted to get a bunch of, like, facial prosthetics to, like, look more like the original guy. And the studios were like, no, don't do that. That'll just be distracting. Like, no, I gotta immerse myself in the character. And I'm like, I like where you're going with this, but so because he's doing that, I'm like, maybe he's like getting really into it and he's like, he wants to depart from his usual stuff.
Maybe.
So.
I mean, we can only hope.
And then me and Hinata also watched Language Lessons, which is a movie with Mark Duplass in it that came out this year. And it's set like in COVID. It's set in like the middle of a pandemic, which I was like, ugh, a lot of those movies that came out were pretty rough. But this one's really good. It's really good. Okay. It's about him, like, he's taking Spanish lessons from, like, a woman, and his, like, right after his, like, first lesson, his husband dies, and then they just kind of go through different griefs together and, like, bond and become friends, and it's really good. It has some really great dialogue, and the woman, I think her name is Natalie Morales? Yeah, Natalie Morales. She is the main character in it, and she's also the director. And she's only directed, like, one other thing before. But it was really good. Like, good, strong direction. But, yeah. And Mark Duplass is my jam. I love him.
Yeah.
And that's what I watched this week. We started watching Power Rangers, the original series, yesterday.
Oh, nice.
What a wacky series. And it's so funny because, like, the original, like, 10 years of Power Rangers, they were taking older footage of Super Sentai and stuff. So it's all, like, obvious that it's filmed in, like, a Japanese city. So they'll be fighting, like, hand-to-hand without their costumes on. They're like, oh, no, we gotta put our costumes on and head over there. So it'll just take them to another scene that's obviously not the same area. And it's really funny because nowadays they just Super Sentai and Power Rangers just have the same shooting locations. They all shoot in like New Zealand.
Makes sense.
So it's easy to recycle it. So I was like, we get the easy peasy. But it's a fun show. I think Power Rangers is goofy.
Yeah.
The second episode's wild because it's like they fight this weird skeleton guy who takes them to this, like, nightmare void, and the other guys are gonna, like, explode the nightmare void, so they're trapped there forever. But they kill the skeleton guy, they get out of the void, and then suddenly there's a big monster, like there always is, but it's not the same one, it's just a different other big monster. I'm like, that's weird.
Huh. Yeah.
But yeah. Huh. And then we keep meaning to watch Cowboy Bebop. We just haven't had the chance to yet.
Yeah.
Heard pretty mixed things, but I'm still kind of excited to see it because I kind of want it to be kind of wacky.
Yeah. No, I'm sure it'll be interesting at the very least. I'll probably watch it eventually.
But a bunch of new stuff's out today. New Disney movies out. I'm not seeing it until Sunday though. Encanto. House of Gucci's out. New Resident Evil movies out. Hawkeye has, I think, its first 2 episodes out. So, a bunch of stuff. Probably watching a bunch of those tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Have you watched anything this week?
The only thing outside of what I subjected myself to last night with Dear Evan Hansen and Rudderless was I checked out the new... well, it's not new anymore, but I guess it's kind of new. The Superman and Lois show from the CW.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen any other CW show. I've seen, like, clips and bits here and there, enough to be like...
You ever seen Smallville?
No, I haven't seen Smallville either. Yeah, I watched Superman and Lois, the first 2 episodes last night. I really wanted to watch the 3rd episode, but it was like 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, I gotta watch fucking Dear Evan Hansen.
I've heard it's pretty good, like, for a CW show.
Yeah, like, I can say that it does a pretty good job at just being accessible if you haven't watched the other shows. It's a good gateway. And, yeah, honestly, so far, like, based off the trajectory, I don't know, I'm 2 out of, like, 15 episodes. Might be, like, aside from, like, Christopher Reeve's Superman, might be best piece of Superman media. Like,
I've heard like the Superman in it is like, wow, it's like actual Superman. He's like just a good guy who's like kind of dorky.
There's like a line that's like a reference to like one of the comics, like in the first episode where like some kid's like, wow, cool costume. He's like, thanks,
my mom made it. Yeah, I love that clip. I'm like, I should watch the show.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's like, they do a good job at building like good drama for fucking Clark to go through that feels like realistic and like, I don't know if any of the comics have done this arc because like his kids are aged up and a lot of it's like family drama. So I find it to be super interesting and I'm really enjoying it so far.
Cool.
And yeah, I saw that they dropped the trailer for the Super Pets movie
with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I don't think it looks very good. I was like, I looked at the trailer. It
looks like children will like it.
Yeah, I was kind of excited when I saw it. I was like, oh, this might be good. And then I watched the trailer. I'm like, this reminds me of everything I hate about children's movies in the modern age.
Yeah.
So it's just like, ugh.
Maybe they'll kill off a character.
Maybe they'll kill off that like pig or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much the only other thing I watched this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, because you watched Dear Evan Hansen like 4 times. You're just kind of going
I was like,
man. Wow!
Ah, dude, what can I say? I love fucking, like, I'm trying to think of a good term. Musicals that all their music is just like full of like platitude lyrics that sound like they're written by like Katy Perry. Like, but not even that. That would be too much credit. Don't mean to slander Katy Perry there. But
before we get into our movies today, I guess I should take this time to, as a disclaimer, the movies we're talking about, one of them is really bad, but both deal with pretty heavy elements. One deals with school shootings. Another deals with suicide. There's a lot of really heavy things. So if you don't feel like listening to that, don't. I want you to be in a good space. If you feel like that's going to make you sad, just skip this episode. I get it.
Also, we should, if you ever go back and listen to our past episodes, the same warning applies to the one where we covered Denis Villeneuve's movies.
Yeah, I meant to like talk about that. Yeah. I didn't, and I need to start getting better at doing that because, like, I don't want people to just be blindsided by that was way more heavy than I was expecting from these two fuckers.
Yeah, and double down for the fucking that statement applies to Uwe Boll's episode. Because, that one's also got a very tasteless school shooting movie. Or not school
that's
shooting.
Just a mash. It's just a public shooting. Having fun.
Yeah.
In his head. He's just like, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, and then he gets away with it. Spoiler, but it's like...
No, there's 2 other movies after that. I keep meaning to pick those 2.
Oh, my God.
I'm just kidding. All right. Let's talk about Rudderless. This was directed by William H. Macy. I think 2014.
Yeah, I think that was.
Starring Billy Crudup and Anton Yelchin.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in peace. Especially this movie. This one hits me really hard because it deals with this kind of like loss and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time I watch something with Anton Yelchin, I'm just like, we lost someone that was such a big talent.
Yeah, I get the same feeling with like watching Anton Yelchin and also like a couple other artists where I'm just like, damn, like, why did you have to go? You were so young and had so much ahead of you.
And Anton Yelchin, like, was also like a pretty smart dude. He wasn't like, and it's just like, it's so sad what happened because it's literally just like a freak accident.
Yeah.
Like, he got pinned to his garage by his own Jeep with a parking failure. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just like one of those things. It's just like, damn, I wish we lived in the alternate reality. That didn't happen. But
yeah, let's talk about Rudderless. This is about the main character, Billy Crudup. He plays, what's his name?
Dan.
I don't think it's Dan. It's Sam. I was like, Dan was close. It's Sam.
I was just throwing out a generic, like, white guy.
I think his name's like Sam Johnson or something.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
But he's talking to his son on the phone. His son's making music. And then they, like, don't talk for the rest of the day. He finds out the next day his son died in a school shooting. And he... pretty much his life falls apart from there. He's like the super high-ranking executive. He has a huge house. But...
then it hard cuts to like a time skip.
Yeah, it's 2 years later. He's on a boat and he's just drinking and he pisses into the water and he goes and he's like instead of... he just does like roofing and painting at a house now. And his guys are like, why are you... his coworkers are like, why are you here? He's like, because I'm in the witness protection. Like, he constantly deflects them. But he ends up going to a bar with his coworkers and hearing some, like, live music, because they just have, like, amateur night, like, every night. They just have performers go up and play. This bar's owned by William H. Macy in the movie. And then he goes home... and his ex-wife drops off, like, all of his son's, like, musical stuff, because they had played, like, music together. And he starts, like, throwing it away. He's like, I can't deal with this. I don't want to see this. But he finds, like, music that his son, like, made. And he listens to it. And from there, it just kind of spirals into him making this music. Or him playing this music, him making a band with Anton Yelchin, and becoming, like, friends with him, who's just, like, he was just a guy at the bar, who was like, that was amazing, dude!
Yeah, let me play with you, and then he, like, kind of, like, just lovingly intrudes into his life, and then, you know, gets him to play one night, and then he's like, fuck, we need to do this publicly, and then there's just other people there playing with him, and he's just like, alright, whatever. And people really like it, and he likes that people like it.
And this keeps spiraling out of control because obviously he's using the music from his dead son, and he's not telling anyone about this until eventually his son's girlfriend shows up, Selena Gomez, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Why are you playing this shit?" And as an audience member, you're kind of like, "What?" You saw it.
Yeah, I saw it coming. Okay. I thought it was pretty obvious what they were doing, but that's me.
That's fair. Some of the people I watched it with got it, some of them didn't. But it's revealed that the son was the school shooter.
Yeah.
And, and so his bandmates find this out. The band breaks up. Anton Yelchin's character just, like... tries to give up on music altogether, but Sam sells his boat and, like, all of his stuff to buy, like, the shop from Lawrence Fishburne's character, who is a character who owns a music shop. Yeah. And he gets him, like, this really expensive, like, Les Paul guitar. And then he goes and, like, plays one more time, and he just says everything. He's like, my son... 2 years ago, my son killed 6 people. And everybody's just like, what? And then he plays, like, this song that he'd been working on that his son had never finished. And he'd been working on the whole movie. And then the movie ends. Then it shows, like, Anton Yelchin moving on, having his band still. And it's, I don't know. What did you think of this movie?
I really liked it. Okay. Really liked it.
I was hoping you would.
Yeah. I like that it... you know, kind of, it lives in the gray, you know.
Yeah.
Loves showing, like, the complicated emotions that because it's like, yeah, you know, we like to fucking look at these terrible people and think, like, oh, yeah, they were probably just, like, objectively terrible their whole lives. But, like, you know, usually the people around them, you know, you look at it and you see, like, that they... you know, we're not aware of these people being like this. And didn't perceive them being like this. So it can be super complicated when these, like, things come to light in the wake of these things. And just, you know, how healthy it is to, like, miss the person, whether it's the person you thought it was. And, like, how it's just complicated, you know. And, yeah, I thought that was, like, I don't know. interesting character drama to dive into with this.
Yeah.
Because, like, the whole time I'm like, they're hiding the son's death. He had a real angry look in his eyes at the beginning of the movie when that guy, like, barged into his room. So I was like, and they're not they're obviously keeping something. So I was like, that would be the most interesting route for the movie to go. And it did go that way. And I don't know. Yeah. I like it.
No, I do too. It's thinking about the movie, I'm like, this is such a hard subject to take on, like, with that, like, twist, because I'm like, holy shit, it can be so easy to go into that in, like, a bad taste sort of route. Yeah. But in general, I think it's handled really well.
I think it's pretty real, because, like, I mean, there are tons of fucking terrible people who are musicians, and you listen to their music, like, the Waco guy, or fucking Marilyn Manson, and, like, their music is, like, you listen to it, and, you know, it's nothing, like, fucking astounding, but it sounds like a tangible song that you would hear. You're like, oh wow, like, and like, I guess comparisons go back further and outside of music. I mean, fucking Hitler was like a fucking wanted to be a painter and shit like that. So I think it's interesting, and it gets into like separating the art from the artist, and I think that that's a complicated subject of itself. But, like, art is what you get out of it, It's, a lot of the time, it's a lot bigger than the person who puts it out there. Mm-hmm. So, like, if people can get a positive experience out of it, I think that it should be put out there regardless. But it's, like, one of those things where it's just, like, the context should be there, too. Yeah. Which is what I think was the important thing missing from, like, the father the whole time. Because he was just, like, keeping it, like...
Yeah, he was just using it to grieve, pretty much, and to like, forget what his son did. And, it's... At no point in the movie is it ever, like, casting the son in a good light or anything.
We hardly...
Yeah, but it's saying that these products that he made are, like, a tangible thing that this dad can hold on to, like, the good parts he remembers about his son. Mm-hmm. And it introduces a lot of interesting questions, like, is that an okay thing to do when it's, like, your son murdered people? Like, are you still allowed to grieve for your son? I love, like, the questions this raises. It's really interesting. And I have not seen a movie covering, like, this type of thing. Like, can you grieve for a murderer? At least in this scenario. And there's that one scene where he's going home with Lawrence Fishburne after he gets, like... Does he go to jail? Oh, yeah, he goes to jail because he goes to the regatta and he, like, is drunk and trying to hit the boats. People. And he's like, fuck you, Laird.
To be fair, that guy kind of wasn't.
That guy was the worst. But Lawrence Fishburne was like, well, they were all someone's sons or someone's daughters. But he was like... Yeah, but he was my son. And it's just like, I don't know. Billy Crudup, I think, is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And he's, like, never in any leads. So, like, seeing him in this, I was like, holy fuck. He's really good in this. And Anton Yelchin is just incredible in this movie.
Yeah. Like, I've known of, like, I've seen him in things clearly, but not anything tangible to where I'm like, that's the guy. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I always knew him as the guy who kind of looked like Matt Dillon.
Yeah.
Fucking this movie, it stood out to me. He gave a fucking stellar performance.
And I like the music in this, like, quite a lot. I like that kind of singer-songwriter style of music, and there's a sense of, like, sadness and deep pondering in most of the songs that I think is illustrated well with the father. And some of them are just bops. Some of them are, like, fun.
That last one fucking slaps.
The one that he sings, that one's so sad, too.
It's sad, but it slaps.
The song that they first play when they first get the whole band together, I can't even remember what it sounds like, but I love that song. I think that song is fantastic. The Wheels on the Bus.
Yeah, they have a pretty sick rendition of that. But yeah, no, this movie was pretty good.
Yeah. And I think this was the first movie that William H. Macy directed. I think he's done a couple other ones since. Apparently they haven't been very good, but...
I noticed he was a writing credit on this, but it was with 2 other guys, too, so...
Yeah. William H. Macy's written a couple of movies. I think this was the first one he directed. Apparently the ones he wrote a couple, like, early 2000s and, like, late 90s that are apparently pretty decent. They were all directed by Steven Schachter?
I don't know.
And I don't know, it seems like he was just like, William H. Macy's like, I wrote the script, go direct this.
Fair. He was probably... Because back then he was still acting pretty frequently.
Yeah, the last 2 movies he's directed apparently were really bad.
Aww.
But I think Rudderless is, like, pretty phenomenal, in my opinion.
I think Rudderless is pretty good. I think that on, like, the technical side, like, the production value, I don't think it's bad.
Yeah, but
it wasn't, like...
It looks like he directed... This is his first directing movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I can see that. That's probably my one, like, biggest gripe, I guess, is it's not... The technical application of things isn't as on par with the other aspects of the like, writing and the script and the characters.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though, because it very much gets into, like, the kind of lo-fi vibe that the movie, kind of relishes in. But yeah, I really like this one. I'm trying to think of, like, more to say on it. But...
there's a scene where he gives the Les Paul to Anton Yelchin, but before that, he was like, every time I wrote one of these songs and sang it, I was learning more and more about my son. It was like I was still here. And then he's like, but I realized that was never my son. It was you. And I was just like, holy fuck!
Yeah. No,
because Anton Yelchin in the movie is also, like, he doesn't have any, like, family members, really. He has a mom that goes in and out, and she has a bunch of problems, and he's trying to, like, keep her happy, and he's trying to keep himself happy, but he doesn't really have a father, so it's obvious that, like, they both use each other for, like, a surrogate. Mm-hmm. And that line was just, like, there's a lot of really devastating lines in the last, like, half of this movie. I was like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
I'm glad I picked this movie, even if it was on a double feature with Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, and I get it thematically. Like, the 2 movies go hand in hand. It's just that one of them is just on a completely different tier than the other one. Yeah. Because I watched Dear Evan Hansen first. I'm like, what movie would possibly go well with this? Like,
and you're like, I get it, I guess.
Like, such a niche, like, musical about a guy who kind of, like, takes advantage of a dead guy for his own gain. Like, what? But lo and behold, there came Rudderless. and much like Sam, I don't know. I'm not crazy about the title Rudderless. I get it.
Yeah. You get it because he's like a boat, but he can't, like, go anywhere. He's stuck in the same... Yeah, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, I think this movie probably would have done a little better had it had a...
Yeah, more... William H. Macy's Rudderless.
Maybe.
I'm just kidding.
Probably like... I don't know, probably something like... The
wheels on the boat.
The Sun Song or something like that.
The Sun Song. Sung Song. Sung Suns.
Sun on a sunny day. But yeah, fucking... I don't know, you give this one a 9.
I would. I think you'd give this an 8?
Yeah. Alright. Dear Evan Hansen. Go fuck yourself.
Holy fuck. Were you familiar with this musical at all before this? Okay.
I've heard, like, whispers. I've seen, like, people like, oh, Dear Evan Hansen online. But I was like... But theater kids are weird. With musicals, there's, like, an audience for any of them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, this is bad.
Yeah.
This is, like, the kind of stuff that, like... fucking just made me cringe when, like, I've never seen this musical before, but, like, this kind of type of musical, I don't know.
Yeah, I listened to the Broadway soundtrack of this, like, once, and I'd be like, that kind of sucked. And
every song sounds the same.
Every song sounds... The only song I even get close to enjoying in this movie is the one that he sings with with Connor. Because it just sounds a little different, and I like the pacing of it more. I just like it a little bit more. But it's also thematically, like, the most yucky song. Because I'm like, oh!
Yeah.
Because that's when they're making up all the lies.
Yeah, that's when they're, like, sending the emails, the fake emails, to make it seem like they had a history together. So this movie is about a kid with anxiety named Evan Hansen. And he is played by, like, a 34-year-old.
No, Ben Platt is only 27. He doesn't look that old usually, but the wig they gave him for this and, like, the makeup, it just made him look like he was, like, 40.
There's, like, lots of times where he's, like, making this kind of, like, face, and he looks old whenever he does that.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, kind of his dumbfounded face, which he has on a lot, and it's just, like... Oh. Yeah, this movie... So he basically... There's this guy at school who's kind of a live wire.
Connor Murphy.
He's very angry. He gets loud and aggressive. And so basically... Evan Hansen is crushing on this guy's sister. But he's also going to therapy, where his therapist has told him to, like, basically, like...
Write himself a letter, which I guess that's a method. I mean, writing a letter, writing a journal, like something to fucking jot down your emotions or whatnot. But for whatever reason compels him, he decides to print it on his school computer. Yeah. Which it's like, okay. Weird, but
sure.
Alright.
And then fucking Connor, the guy who is the sister, he actually comes up and kind of tries to be friends with Evan in this scene. It's very awkward and weird, but he tries, I guess. You know, he's like, let me sign your cast. And he, like, writes his name really big on there. Kind of a dick move, but I guess it's like, whatever, you know. At least you're the only one who signed it, so it's like... He's like, maybe we can be... Well, he says maybe we can pretend to be friends after he...
Yeah. Now we can both pretend that we're not so lonely or some shit like that.
And it's like, alright, had fucking... But then he goes over and, like...
He's like, what's my sister's name? You knew I was gonna look at this. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he's very, like, manic and irrational, and he... like, goes, he leaves, and then the next day, Evan Hansen gets called into the principal's office to talk with Connor's parents.
I think 3 days later.
Oh.
Because it's like, yeah, he's talking to us. He's like, he hasn't been back in 2 days or 3 days or something. You weren't paying attention to the plot of...
Dude, every time they started singing, I stopped processing what they were saying, and I was just like, I would go into a state of, I don't want to watch this fucking...
Why is this movie 2.5 hours long?
Oh, yes, why? Like, when I was like...
Rudderless is an hour and 45 minutes and says so much more about everything while also having a lot of songs.
And just, like, this movie is just, like... it drains me of my energy.
Yeah, I just finished this, and I'm like, I want to go to bed for 4 days.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm going to finish this tomorrow, and maybe before I go film the podcast, I can wake up, watch fucking Rudderless, and maybe another episode of Superman. But then I was just, like, halfway through, or, like, 2/3 of the way through it, and I was just like, I have to go to bed. I can't watch this anymore. Oh, it was so bad. But... yeah, fucking... so he basically gets called into the principal's office, where the shining gem of this movie, Amy Adams.
She tries so hard, but she like tries too hard for the movie too. Like to the point that everyone's trying like really hard, but it all just feels like caricatures of a character because of it, because the characters are already so like paper thin, and then Amy Adams is just like, you knew him, and it's like, come on.
Dude, I have to backtrack a little because I just remembered. I cringed so hard at that intro scene where he's just like walking through and singing and all the people around him are just like not. I was like, this must have been so awkward to film.
It's like, you cannot, I understand if it's on a stage, that's fine. It makes sense. But you can't, when you're adapting something into a movie.
I actually, hold on, to its credit, I thought that kind of effectively probably pulled off what it was trying to. Because it made me feel anxious as fuck. Yeah. I was just like...
Well, I mean, like, every song is like
but
that,
yeah,
though.
Then it gets to the point where he's, like, at the dinner table, and he stands up, and he's moves, and he's like... And we went to the orchard...
And we went to the Alamode.
I fell off a tree, and
I fell off a tree, he gave me a kiss.
Yeah.
And then I was righteous as could be.
And I want to kiss his sister. Actually, I'm going to leave that part out.
And later on, I'm going to sing her a love song, but I'm going to frame it as if her brother is just saying nice things about her, and it's going to be extremely awkward and very creepy.
That he was incestuous.
Yeah, it's gonna.
That's probably why he killed himself.
And she's going to feel really weird. And then later, for some reason, she's going to confess her love to me, and I'm going to still use this traumatized, grieving girl for my advantage, who I'm also older than.
Yeah, it's just like, oof. Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, so he just uses the parents, but they use him because they're like, oh, you knew him. So then he just starts lying and lying and lying, and it's just obnoxious to watch. It's like, why? Why are you doing that?
Who wants to, like, do a fundraiser in his name to plant an orchard, right?
Yeah, it's to rebuild that orchard that they went to.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, why?
So, yeah.
This orchard that Connor probably did not give a shit about.
Yeah, he liked it on Facebook, and Evan saw that, and he's like, this is my in. So... Because, like, they're like, wow, we haven't been there in years when he brings it up.
Well, he brings up, he's like, we were walking by some trees, and they're like, the orchard? And he's like, yep, the orchard. Wow.
Yeah.
That's how most of the conversations in this movie go. He just like, and we got some ice cream, and they're like, at Alamode? And he's like, yep, at Alamo. And it's just like, this guy's fucking evil.
Yeah.
And the whole time he's like, well, I just wanted a family that cared about me. And I'm like, your mom's working like 60 hours a week. And she's like trying, and she's like, oh, I can't come to dinner, but she's trying her best. And he's like, man, if only my mom could just be a mom. And I'm like, I'm sorry, your mom isn't rich. Julianne Moore, I think she really tries in this too. I actually think most of the people in this try, they just fail.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember when Julianne Moore was in Magnolia?
She's fantastic. She's fantastic. Most of the actors in this are good actors.
Yeah.
It's just bad direction and a terrible script. Like, I think that the original Broadway musical is a little more nuanced in its, like, takes and characters in this, but not by much. So they're already adapting something that I already think is pretty obnoxious.
Yeah.
But they made it much worse.
Yeah, I don't like that this movie, like... Yeah, the movie does portray that, like, what he's doing is wrong, but at the same time, you have him inspiring millions of people.
Yeah, and it's like, not really, though. Yeah.
And it's just like... Yeah, and it's just like, you're sending me mixed messages here.
Especially because nothing really happens to him. Like, he just goes back to people ignoring him. Yeah. Like, they don't beat the shit out of him or anything, which I probably would. I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude?
Like
he gets into a good college, but he's like, no, I'm going to stay and help my mom. And spend some money, but nothing like. And he's like, yeah, I'm good.
Family could probably like press charges on him or something if they really wanted to. Because I mean, like, he practically like leads to like. It's probably not directly slander, but something akin, like, in that field. So it's just like... Because, like, everyone in town is just like, well, fuck the parents, we read the suicide note.
Yeah.
Which
which was just his note to himself.
Yeah, and it's just like... Ugh. Ugh. But yeah, so the movie basically ends with him. He finally confesses to the family, and they're like... Well, that was fucked up. And then he goes up to the sister later and he's like...
Why won't you tell everyone?
And she's like, because I'm done. I don't want it anymore.
Well, and she's like, my mom says they already lost one son. And it's like, but you don't ever talk to him again.
Yeah.
For the rest of the movie, the parents don't talk to him, so it's not like, if you don't talk to him, that's also losing a son. Like, what?
Yeah. It
seems like you don't want him in your life, but you're also like, oh, he already lost one son. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Most of the dialogue in the movie doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Also, his mom, like, as much as, like, yeah, she's trying, she also just has no clue what's going on. She's like, I saw on Facebook a video of you. And I'm like, you work at a hospital in the town that doesn't seem, like, that big, and he has, like, hundreds of thousands of people looking at his stuff, and it takes you, a video, and it's like, and I'm like, nobody called the mom for like questions. I feel like the news at that point would have called her and be like, so how was your son's relationship with him? And she would have been like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just like, huh? What do you mean? Yeah, that's how I was expecting it to come undone, honestly, but it didn't. It didn't go that way. Instead, they made a different character into kind of an asshole.
Well, and that girl is an asshole on the original Broadway. Like, she's doing a lot of that stuff for, like, clout, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And the original musical, like, tries to make everyone into, like, pretty equally, like, miserable people to be like, yeah, everyone has these faults and stuff. And I don't really like what they do with it. But in this one, it's just like, nope. Evan Hansen is just the worst person on earth.
Yeah. But, yeah, he's fucking terrible. The movie ends with him meeting the sister in an orchard again, and she's like, I wanted you to see it, since you've never actually been here.
And then she goes, bye.
I wish we could have met under different circumstances, but kind of fucked it up. But, yeah, and then he just is like, oh, yeah, I'm going to look at the sunset.
And his cast is off, showing that he has healed both physically and emotionally.
Well, his cast came off like halfway through the movie. Like, by the time he starts lying, like, or it's around the time he starts lying, like, getting really into it, that, like, and gets in with the one girl who's, like, running the organization, that the cast comes off, which it's, like, a thematically relevant moment to do that in, I guess.
There's no thematically relevant moments in this movie.
Yeah.
Literally, like, I knew this movie was going to be awful. The moment that Ben Platt had to start going like, no, I'm the only one that could be this role. I had to come back because he was the original Broadway role for this. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you sure? Or is it just because your dad's producing the movie? Mm-hmm. And it's just like, dude, you're old. Let someone else do it.
Right.
Or just like, just be like, yeah, I'm in the role, but somebody else could have done it, or something. Like,
yeah,
don't be a dick about it.
He could have like played like the dad or something in this. He could have.
He does look old. Howdy, partner.
Yeah, I got this baseball here. But yeah, fucking Dear Evan Hansen. Yeah, this movie's not good. It's like, it's ugly. It betrays. It's a very like. I feel like the movie's trying to be hopeful, but like it feels like everything about it just feels so nihilistic.
Yeah, and it's like, what are you trying to say here? Because it's not fucking working.
That hope is deceitful and not real. And that fucking... the characters' conclusions that they had come to earlier in the movie, like the sister, she's like, there is nothing good. There's no good memories. It was always bad. And it's like, well, I guess the movie just proved her point, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what is this movie trying to say? Because it does it so poorly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what this movie's trying to say. That, I mean, maybe if we took... I see a lot of the typical suicide sentiment that, like, oh man, if only I had, like, reached out sooner. But, like, that's, like, the only tangible thing. Aside from that, it's, like, don't profit off of the death of people? I don't know.
But, I mean, like,
even if it's...
It viewed it... The movie portrayed that as a good thing in the end, because it's like, yeah, we profited off that and got the orchard rebuilt, and it helped his family heal. And it's like...
If you find yourself in a positive lie, just keep it going.
Keep it going, because even when it unravels, you'll be fine.
Yeah, I don't... Whew, this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dear Evan.
This is, I think, the worst movie of the year for me. Like, it jumps around.
Did that come out this year?
Yeah. It came out. I saw it like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
like, it's either this or like Wrong Turn, but like this is 2.5 hours.
Wrong Turn was this year?
Yeah, it was in like March.
Oh man. Yeah, if you sat me down and told me to watch this or Wrong Turn,
I'd probably watch Wrong Turn because that's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, and Wrong Turn is it's not good, but. Sadly, I think it's better than this movie.
Like, the only enjoyment from this movie is, like, when a character says something and it pans over to Ben Platt and he's just like this. He, like, looks like a rat or something.
Yeah.
Like, at one point, I took a video earlier because it was the daughter, the sister, whatever her name is, and she's like, I like you. And it zooms over to Ben Platt and he's like this.
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you doing that face?
Oh, fuck. Yeah. Fucking Dear Evan Hansen. His family friend was mean.
His family friend was a fucking asshole. Yeah. Everyone in this was just a fucking dick for no reason.
Yeah.
Or just way too good for no reason. I'm just like, what? There are no characters. They're just fucking good, bad. They're just bullet points.
Yeah. Yeah, all the fucking... I mentioned this earlier. Like, all the fucking lyrics are just, like, empty fucking wet paper. Just, like... Do you... Like, it reminds me of, like, the fucking opening line to Firework where it's like, do you ever feel like a plastic bag? It's just, like...
No, that's a good line.
Yeah, that line's at least memorable. Fucking, but like this, it's just like, yeah, it was generic. All the lyrics were just like generic and empty, and it was like put over this like fucking like, I don't know, fucking like, I'm trying to think of like a band. It kind of reminds, some of the music in this like reminds me of like Pompeii. I don't know the name of the band who sings that. How am I going to be an optimist about this? You know. Fucking, but like, yeah, just that brand of like pop.
Yeah.
Almost like a tinge of like country in there too. It's just like, oh man, no. This is the two genres that I really am not a fan of.
I'm just glad that I watched a musical I did like. And it was also, like, poppy, and it was also... But it had layered songs. It had an interesting plot. It had interesting character.
The whole time I was watching this, I was just like, I want to turn this off and turn on Phantom of the Paradise, because I was listening to the soundtrack to that a little bit throughout the week, and I was like, man, that's a good...
Salutations from the other side.
Bam! I can see that you're the devil's pride. Yeah, fucking...
But yeah, this movie just makes me tired. I think you're going to give this a 1?
Yeah.
Were you thinking about giving it higher? Okay.
You're gonna give this one a 1?
Yeah. Fuck this movie.
Like, and it doesn't look good either. It's super, like, overlit, like a lot of modern movies are. So that's just strike against it.
Yeah, I think that just makes it feel even more, like, unrealistic, and its characters feel even more just, like, caricatures, because they're not in a real setting. This feels like, feels fake the whole time.
Yeah, I think that could work if you're, like, adapting a musical. Like, if they ever get around to, like, adapting, like, a Book of Mormon or something, I think that bright, overlit quality would probably work for that.
In Tick, Tick, Boom, there are specifically moments that are extremely overlit, but it's obvious that it's, like, intentional, and it fits well for that song, because a lot of the movie is narrated by, like, Andrew Garfield. He's telling the story of his life, so it'll zoom in, and then in that scene, it'll be, like, a musical that's going on in his head, and it'll be overlit, and it'll be really gaudy, but it's intentional. It makes sense. It feels fake, but it's good that it feels fake. It feels like you want to be empathizing with these characters. You want them to feel at least somewhat real.
You want, like, kind of, like, more muted color palette for this kind of, like, story, I would think, you know, because it's, you know, suicide, so I imagine, like, some, like, dark blues that are kind of soothing.
Yeah, I think the only...
Dark, you know.
I think the only part that really makes sense for, like, it to be oversaturated or overlit is that one song that I kind of like, where it's like, oh, this is him pretending, this is him writing these emails, this is a fake scenario. Like, that's fine. I want this to look fake. That's good.
Yeah.
That feels good to me. The rest of the movie shouldn't look like that, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, we did it! 120 episodes down.
Woo!
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Another deep dive coming up. What are we doing, Thomas?
All right.
Is it rough?
I'll give you a choice. Do you want to do something genuinely Christmassy or something horror Christmassy?
We're doing 2 other Christmas episodes after this.
Well, I guess they're both kind of technically horror Christmassy, but one of them's in, like, the horror subgenre, but it's not going to be good. I'm just going to tell you that straight up if you take the horror choice. But we're definitely going to have some gems if we go with the Christmas choice.
Is the horror choice Silent Night, Deadly Night? Okay. I'm going to go with the other one then.
All right.
Because I don't want to watch Silent Night, Deadly Night right now.
That's fair.
Because aren't there, like, 6 of them?
There's 5. And the first movie is pretty graphic. Oh, yeah, there's the remake. I forgot about that. So, yeah, there's 6 of them. Okay. So we're going to be watching some Christmas Carol movies. Or a Christmas Carol movies. So let me pull up the list. Muppet. What? No. Why would I choose that?
Okay, fine.
So the 5 that we will be watching in order of release, we're going to start off with Scrooge from 1970. That one's got Albert Finney, who you might remember from Under the Volcano. Then we've got the 1984 A Christmas Carol, directed by Clive Donner. Then we've got Scrooged from 1988, starring Bill Murray. Then we've got The Muppets Christmas Carol. And then the Jim Carrey, Robert Zemeckis Christmas Carol. So those 5 Christmas Carol movies.
Okay. I've seen one of those.
Which one? Oh,
Muppets. Yeah. Which one?
I've seen Scrooged and the Muppets. I haven't seen the other 3. So, I'm interested. So yeah. I was struggling because there's so many adaptations of A Christmas Carol, and I didn't even include, like, aside from the Muppet one, I didn't include any of, like, the classic choices, because I know, like, there's, like, one from the 30s, 40s, and 50s that, like, all 3 people hold in pretty high regards. But
so only 2 of these are musicals, I think. I think the 1970 one's a musical.
Yeah, the one with Albert Finney's a musical.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't wait to watch the same movie 5 times.
I know. It'll be exciting. Scrooged is a bit different.
Yeah, I've heard that one's... That's by Richard Donner. That's Superman guy. That's the Goonies guy. That's Lethal Weapon 1 through 4 guy.
And you'll get to relive your Ghostbusters afterlife magic because Bill Murray. Bill Murray.
Yeah, I don't really like Bill Murray.
Your loss.
I did, and then, I keep finding out he's just kind of a dick.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
And kind of creepy. He just kind of does shit.
Yeah, I haven't heard much on the creepy side, but I know he's kind of an asshole. But, yeah, well...
We did it.
Just be thankful I didn't have a very Merry Christmas or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah, so we're starting Christmas early. We're going to do that. And then after that, we're going to have... So this will come out... Your deep dive will come out the 6th. Then we'll have a Christmas episode on the 13th and one on the 20th. So we'll have 3 Christmas episodes this year.
Okay, cool. Hell yeah.
Or maybe I'll find, I don't know, maybe we can find some Hanukkah movies. Are there any Hanukkah movies?
Yeah, we should strive to find some holiday movies that are not just Christmas.
Like The Holiday.
Like The Holiday or 8 Crazy Nights. There's got to be other Hanukkah movies.
Well, there's what is it, Night... Is it called Night Before Christmas? The one with Seth Rogen.
Oh, The Night Before.
Yeah, The Night Before. Because that's a Christmas movie, but it's about Jewish characters or people that don't celebrate Christmas.
I think Seth Rogen's the only character in that movie that is doing that.
What are they doing?
Huh?
Well, what are they doing then?
Oh, the other 2 guys aren't Jewish. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no,
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
that's Captain America.
I saw that movie in theaters when it came out.
I did too. I like that movie fine.
I remember being real lukewarm on it, and I haven't really...
They played the Kanye West song on the piano from Big.
I probably didn't even register, because I didn't listen to Kanye West when I saw the movie.
Oh. That I actually really like that scene, because it's just the big piano, but they're just like, but who got you?
Oh, jeez. Fuck. But, yeah, fucking, I feel like that, I almost wanted to pick, the Harold and Kumar movies, because the last one's a Christmas movie. Yeah. And at the very least, I like both the actors in it, John Cho and Cal Penn, who I saw came out recently. Yeah. Congratulations.
Woo! I mean, he's been in a relationship with a guy for 9 years or something.
But I think he just came out publicly, so it's nice. But
we should watch, would be a great episode? Harold and Maude and Harold and Kumar.
Those 2 movies are so, opposite. If we do Harold and Kumar, we're just going to do it all in, one swoop, probably, because there's 3 of them. I imagine, because I don't think you'd like those movies.
Harold and Kumar?
Yeah.
I've seen them all.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's been a long time since I watched them, but I watched Harold and Kumar go to White Castle, a lot growing up. It was on TV all the time.
That one in particular, I remember really liking.
Yeah, I remember liking...
the sequel being kind of meh, and then I didn't much care for the Christmas one. But I only saw that one once.
Yeah, I remember. Me too. If I rewatch them, I'd probably still like White Castle.
Yeah.
And I probably wouldn't care for the other 2, which is what I remember mostly.
Yeah. I remember being kind of middle of the road on the second one, but a lot of the jokes I remember from that one, I'm just
Seeing how it's a mid-2000s movie set in a prison, I feel like there's a lot of jokes that'll probably be really
not just a prison, gross. Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. Probably a lot of jokes about sexual assault, yeah.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
But Cowboy Bebop's in it.
Yeah. Is that what you're going to call him from now on?
Yeah. Cowboy Bebop and Obama advisor.
Obama?
Yeah, Cal Penn was on Obama's administrative team.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Cal Penn worked for the White House.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
That makes me like him less, honestly.
I mean, that's fair. He was the White House Office of Public Liaison, the associate director of it.
Huh. The more you know.
Yeah.
Huh. I knew he was on, like, House.
Yeah, he got written out of House because he joined the White House. He was going to a bigger house.
He got a promotion. Well.
And then he left his post in 2010 so he could be in the Christmas movie. And then came back.
Oh.
And then 2011 left to go on to How I Met Your Mother. So he'd just be like, sorry, Obama. I gotta go be in Harold and Kumar.
And then he came back and he's like, hold on, I owe NPH a favor. Because he's been in 2 Harold and Kumar. Was he in the first one?
I think he was he in the second one?
He was in the second one, for sure. The second one, and then he was in the third one. I don't think he was in the first one.
No, he wasn't in the first one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we're watching Christmas carols.
Yes.
And then I think I know what, because I think I'll get a Christmas one and you'll get a Christmas one. I think I know what we're watching. Oh.
I'll look for some Kwanzaa movies.
Oh yeah, I need to look for that too. Alright, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next week for episode 121.
Oh, be thankful. I almost picked the Home Alone movies.
Including the new one?
Including the new one, but I didn't, so...
Yeah, those would have been rough. I don't even really like the first two. They're fine.
I remember liking the first one. I haven't seen it.
The second one has Trump in it.
It does. It does. It also has Tim Curry and Rob Schneider.
Rob Schneider's a dick.
Yeah. He doesn't seem like the greatest guy, but...
He's so anti-vax. It's really annoying.
Is he really?
Rob Schneider, yeah.
I have not been... I don't keep up on Rob Schneider.
Oh, no. He's, huge. He's do not get the vaccine. He said that for, every vaccine. Not even the COVID one. He's, extremely anti-vax for everything. It's the government. It's really annoying.
Oh, man. Rob, what are you doing?
Just go be in brownface or whatever you do.
Yeah, he loves doing other cultures.
Yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.